Alrighty, guys, we are 6-3 with a push in our last 10 $1.99 daily best plays on my website. But before we get into some more of that, just want to take a quick time out and welcome you to the video here today for Monday, October 3rd, 2022. My name is Brock Page, and I've been doing sports picks for free right here on YouTube since 2016. I also sell my personal sports bets on patreon.com/BrockPage. And once again, guys, I'm 6-3 with a push on my last 10 $1.99 daily best plays on my website. And the good news is today's $1.99 daily best play, it's only going to cost you just $1.99. And the link for my site is in the description section below. And with that, guys, let's go ahead and dive into some free content. We're going to take a look at the Royals squaring off against the Guardians, 6:10 p.m. East. Cleveland's -185, total 7. Tristan McKenzie for Cleveland, Zach Greinke for Kansas City. Now, Granks is just 4.9 on the year with a 1.34 whip. Meanwhile, as a team, the Royals have dropped 5 out of their last 6 ball games, and they've continuously struggled at the dish all season long. These guys are currently in the bottom 10 in road scoring. They're also facing Tristan McKenzie, who's got 186 strikeouts and a .96 whip. When it comes to hitting the baseball, the Guardians are in the top 10 in the bigs in home hits per contest. Andres Gimenez is hitting a team-best .302 at the plate. Meanwhile, Jose Ramirez, he's third in the majors right now with 122 RBI. Now, when it comes to the total, Cleveland went 70% to the under in their last 10 Tristan McKenzie starts. Meanwhile, KC's gone 42 and 31 to the under against divisional opponents. I'm going to lean toward Cleveland, -185, under 7. Next ball game, Cards, Pirates, 6:35 East. St. Louis is -170, total 7.5 runs. Miles Michaelis for St. Louis, Mitch Keller for Pittsburgh. Now, Keller's just 5-12 on the season with a whip of 1.39. When it comes to hitting the baseball, well, Pittsburgh really hasn't done much of that this year. These guys are in the bottom 3 in home hits. They're facing Miles Michaelis for St. Louis, and he's got a dozen wins on the year along with a 1.03 whip. And aside from some solid pitching, well, the Cards have been kind of murdering the baseball all season long. Paul Goldschmidt's in the top 5 in the bigs in batting average, RBI, and OPS. Meanwhile, as a team, the Cards are in the top 10 in road scoring. And when it comes to the number, the Cards averaged nearly 6 runs a game in their last 10 meetings with Pittsburgh. As a matter of fact, 7 out of those 10 ball games I just mentioned got over the line. So if you're into historical trends, certainly want to think about that one there. I'm going to lean towards St. Louis, -170, over 7.5. Next matchup, Cubs, Reds, 6:40 p.m. East. Cincinnati's -1.25, total 7.5. Hunter Green for Cincinnati, Hayden Wesneski for Chicago. And even in limited action, Wisniewski's had some pretty good outings this year. He's got a 2.33 ERA and a .96 whip. Meanwhile, as a team, the Cubbies won their last 7 straight. They posted a record of 15-4 in their last 19. Ian Happ has a team-best 72 RBI at the plate. Meanwhile, Patrick Wisdom, he has the most home runs on the team. Now they're facing Hunter Green, who's just 4-13 on the year with an ERA of .466. Meanwhile, as a team, the Reds lost their last 6 straight, and they average only 1.6 runs a game during that stretch. Now when it comes to scoring, 7 out of Cincinnati's last 10 meetings with Chicago got over the total. So once again, if you're into historical trends, plenty of overs to go around. As a matter of fact, the Cubbies averaged 6 runs a game during that time frame I just mentioned. I'm going to lean toward the Cubs, +105, over 7.5. Next ball game, Braves, Marlins, 6:40 p.m. East. Atlanta's the $1.50 favorite, total 7 runs. Bryce Elder for Atlanta, Jesus Luzardo for Miami. And even though Luzardo's pitched great this year, the Fish just don't want to win for him. He comes into today's start with a 3-7 record. Meanwhile, as a team, Miami's winning just 40% of their divisional home games. And they're in the bottom 3 in runs per game on their own field. They're taking on Bryce Elder here today for Atlanta, and he's got himself an ERA of .276. And even if for some reason Elder struggles on the mound, the Braves are still hitting more home runs than any other club in the National League. Austin Riley's leading the charge with 38 bombs on the year. Meanwhile, Matt Olson, he has a team best 101 runs batted in. Now, when it comes to the total, Atlanta's gone a staggering 27-9 to the over against the NL East on the road. And of course, that's good for 75% in that category. They also saw overs in 6 out of their last 10 meetings with Miami. I'm going to lean toward the Braves minus 150, over 7. Next matchup, it is going to be Yankees at the Rangers, 7:05 Eastern first pitch. New York's the $1.55 favorite, total 7.5. Luis Severino for New York, Martin Perez for Texas. And even though Marty's pitched brilliantly all year, well, the Rangers as a team, they're kind of like in shambles. They lost their last 5 straight, and they posted a record of just 1-8 straight up in their last 9. When it comes to hitting the baseball, well, these guys are striking out more times a game at the plate than most clubs in the American League. Of course, they're facing Luis Severino on the other side here today, who's 6-3 on the year with an ERA in the 3s. Now, Sevy's also got himself a solid 1.06 whip. When it comes to hitting the baseball, not many people can do it better than Aaron Judge. He leads the league in homers and OPS, and of course, he's going for home run number 62. Tied with Maris right now, looking to take sole possession of that, home run crown. But anyway, as a team, the Yankees lead the American League in runs per game. Now, total-wise, New York saw 3 out of their last 4 Severino starts get over the line. Meanwhile, Texas has gone 61% to the over in all of their contests at Globe Life Field. I'm going to lean toward the Yankees minus 155. Over 7.5. Next matchup, Blue Jays, Orioles, 7:05 East. Toronto's minus 130, totals 8. Jose Barrios for Toronto, Dean Kramer for Baltimore. And even though Kramer's been solid, the O's lost 6 out of their last 9. They allowed nearly 5.5 runs a game in their last 10 meetings with Toronto. And speaking of the Jays, these guys have had little issue getting on base this season. They're currently leading the Bigs in team batting average. And Vlad Guerrero, he's just 4 RBIs shy of the century mark. Now, pitching-wise, Jose Barrios, he has 11 wins on the season, along with 144 strikeouts. So even though he's run into some problems giving up runs, it really doesn't matter. The Jays continue to win for the guy. I'm going to lean toward the Blue Jays minus 130, under 8. Next ball game, Rays, Red Sox, 7:10 p.m. East. Tampa Bay's minus 135, totals 8. Tyler Glasnow for Tampa Bay, Rich Hill for Boston. Now, Hill comes into today's game with a 4.41 ERA and a 1.34 whip. And aside from losing 7 out of their last 10, Boston has had a tough time scoring against Tampa Bay in recent meetings. They're averaging less than 3.8 runs a game in their last 10 contests against the Rays. And speaking of Tampa, their pitching staff walks fewer batters a game than any other club in the league. As a matter of fact, the Rays are allowing only 3.8 runs a game for the entire season. Now, when it comes to the number, Boston went 7-3 to the over in their last 10. They also saw 6 out of their last 9 Rich Hill starts get over the total. I'm going to go ahead and lean toward Tampa Bay minus 135, over 8 runs. Next ball game, little NL East action. I'm talking about the Nationals at the Mets, and that'll be a 7:10 Eastern first pitch in Flushing, Queens. Going to be rainy, going to be cold in that one. The Mets are minus $3, total 7.5. Carlos Carrasco for New York, Corey Abbott for the Nats. And out of 44 innings of work, Abbott's gone 0-4 with an ERA in the 5s. Meanwhile, as a team, the Nats dropped 7 out of their last 10. Their pitching staff's allowing more runs on the road than any other club in the majors. Now, they're facing a Mets lineup on the other side of things who loves to hit the baseball. These guys have the highest team batting average right now in the National League. Of course, they got the man right there, Danny Vogelback, which, of course, on TikTok, he's known as Danny Burgers. He's a pretty popular figure on TikTok. But anyway, Pete Alonso, he leads the majors right now with 101 RBI. And pitching-wise, Carlos Carrasco, he's got himself a 15-7 record with 149 strikeouts. Now, total-wise, New York saw overs in 8 out of their last 10 ball games. They also averaged just about 6 runs a game in their last 10 meetings with Washington. I'm going to lean toward the Mets, -1.5, over 7.5. Next matchup, D-backs, Brewers, 7:40 p.m. East. Milwaukee's -250, total 7. Brandon Woodruff for Milwaukee, Tommy Henry for Arizona. Now, Henry's just 3-4 in the season with an ERA of 5.98. Meanwhile, as a team, the D-backs dropped 6 out of their last 9. And they've had significant problems getting on base. Arizona's in the bottom 3 in hits per game. They're also facing Brandon Woodruff, who's 13-4 in the year with an ERA in the low 3s. Now, Woody's also got a 1.09 whip and 183 strikeouts. When it comes to hitting for power, not many teams hit more long balls than Milwaukee. They're actually in the top 3 right now in home runs per contest. Rowdy Tellez and Willy Adames, they've combined for 65 homers between the two of them. When it comes to the number, this game's being featured as my board member tier package bet on my website. So I can't give you a free play on the total in this one, but if you want to see whether I'm pounding the over or the under in this one, there's only one way to find out, and that's to sign up for my board member tier package bet on my website. And of course, that's patreon.com/BrockPage. And just remember here, guys, if you sign up for that package here today, you're going to get access to all of my plays, all of my cheaper memberships on my website, absolutely free. They're going to be included with your purchase, which means you're going to get access to every single bet in every single package. Everything that I produce on that website, board members get access to. But as far as making a pick on the sides in this one, I'm going to lean toward Milwaukee -1.5, getting the job done for some run line cash. Next ball game, Twins, White Sox, 8:10 p.m. East. Chicago's -1.25 at home, total 7. Johnny Cueto for Chicago, Bailey Ober for Minnesota. Now, Obi's got himself a 3.18 ERA and a 1.10 whip. The Twins lineup has also been tough to strike out on the road. They're in the top 10 in the league in fewest road strikeouts at the dish. Of course, Luis Arias, he's always on base. He's actually 4th in the majors with a 3.15 batting average. Now, they're facing Johnny Cueto, who's got double-digit losses and a losing 7-10 record. Meanwhile, as a team, the Chi Sox lost 7 out of their last 10. And they really struggled at the plate this year. Actually, they struggled at the plate during that stretch that I just mentioned. They averaged under 2.4 runs per contest during that 10-game span. When it comes to the scoring, 7 out of Chicago's last 10 did stay under the total. Meanwhile, Minnesota on the other side, they saw their last 4 road games stay under the line. I'm going to lean toward Minnesota +105, under 7. Next game, certainly a game of importance. It is going to be Phillies at the Astros, and that'll be an 8:10 Eastern start time at Minute Maid Park. Now, Houston's the $1.30 favorite at home, total 7 runs. Lance McCullers for Houston, Aaron Nola for Philly. And unfortunately, guys, this game's being featured as my $1.99 daily best play on my website. But the good news is I'm 6-3 with a push in my last 10 bets in that package. And if you want to access today's daily best play, it's only going to cost you just $1.99. And once again, guys, the link for my website is currently in the description section below. Next ball game, little West Coast action, actually NL West to be specific. That's going to be the Giants at the Padres, 9:40 p.m. East. San Diego's -270, total 7 runs. Joe Musgrove for San Diego, John Brebbia for San Francisco. Now, Brebby's gone 6-2 this year with an ERA in the low 3s. Meanwhile, as a team, the Giants got the W in 8 out of their last 10. And they had little issues producing runs during that time frame. Wilmer Flores, he's currently leading the franchise in runs batted in right now. He's got 71 of them on the year. Now, San Francisco's facing a Padres team who lost 4 out of their last 5. And they averaged only 1 run a game in those losses. As a matter of fact, guys, the Pods have had a pretty tough time scoring runs at Petco Park this year. Not much to see if you're a fan of the Padres. These guys are in the bottom 5 in the league right now in runs per contest on their home field. When it comes to the total, 6 out of the Pods' last 7 at Petco Park did fall under the line. No real surprise there. Meanwhile, San Francisco went 3-1 to the under in their last 4 on the road themselves. I'm going to lean toward the Giants plus 1.5, under 7. Next ball game, Angels at the Athletics, 9:40 p.m. East. LA's minus 185, total 7. Patty Sandoval for LA, Adrian Martinez for Oakland. Now, A-Mart's just 4-5 on the year with an ERA in the 6s. When it comes to hitting the baseball, these guys have had a tough time getting on base all season long. They're actually dead last in the majors in team batting average, and they're scoring under 3.6 runs a game for the entire season. Now, they're facing an Angels club on the other side who won their last 7 straight. They averaged over 5 runs a game during that time frame. Shohei Ohtani's leading the club in RBI with 94 of them. When it comes to the starting pitching, well, Patty Sandoval, he's had a pretty solid year this year despite his record. He's got 145 strikeouts and a 3.03 ERA. Now, number-wise, these Angels pitchers have held Oakland to just 2.4 runs a game in their last 10 meetings. And no real surprise here, 8 out of those 10 games I just mentioned fell under the total. I'm going to go ahead and lean toward the Angels, minus 185, under 7. Next matchup, it is going to be Tigers at the Mariners. And that'll be a 9:40 Eastern start time in Seattle. Now, the M's are minus 250, total 7. George Kirby for the Mariners, Brian Garcia for Detroit. And out of a very short body of work, Garcia's shown some pretty good stuff. He's got himself an ERA in the low 3s right now. When it comes to covering the 1.5, well, the Tigers have cashed in on the run line in 3 out of their last 4 road games. Javi Baez, he's leading the team in RBI with 64 of them. Now, he's going to have to go up and face a Mariner team who has actually had a tough time covering the 1.5 here recently themselves. Seattle's gone just 3-7 against the number in their last 10 outings. And when it comes to their performance at the plate this season, well, this Mariner lineup has had a tough time getting hits this year. These guys are actually in the bottom 3 in the entire league in team batting average. When it comes to the total, Seattle saw 4 out of their last 6 in their own building fall under the number. Meanwhile, on the other side, Detroit's gone 60% to the under in their they've gone 60% to the under in all of their road games this year. I'm going to lean toward Detroit plus 1.5, under 7. And with that, guys, we're going to jump into our next and final breakdown for the video. It is going to be Rockies at the Dodgers, 10:10 Eastern first pitch. The Dodgers are minus 350, totals 8.5. Tony Gonsolin for Los Angeles, Jose Urena for Colorado. Now, Urena's had a bit of a rough year for the Rockies. He's just 3-6 on the season with an ERA of 5.70. When it comes to offensive production, no one's been worse on the road than Colorado. These guys are averaging fewer runs a game away from home than any other franchise in baseball. Now, they're also facing a healthy Tony Gonsolin who's 16-1 with an ERA in the low 2s. So we're going to have to take a look and see if we'll get more of the same from Tony here today. And even though the Dodgers clinched the division weeks ago, the Dodgers still got the W in 7 out of their last 10 outings. So no brake pedal for these guys. They continue to win ball games. Mookie Betts, he's leading the club in homers with 35 of them. Meanwhile, Freddie Freeman, his .327 batting average is the highest in the majors right now. Highest qualifying batting average. Now, total-wise, LA saw 4 out of their last 7 at Dodger Stadium get over the number. Meanwhile, Colorado went 60% to the over in their last 10. I'm going to lean toward the Dodgers minus 1.5, over 8.5 runs. And with that, guys, now it's time for our quick pick recap. I like Cleveland minus 185, under 7. St. Louis minus 170, over 7.5. Chicago Cubs plus 105, over 7.5. Atlanta Braves minus 150, over 7. Yankees minus 155, over 7.5. Toronto minus 130, under 8. Tampa Bay minus 135, over 8 runs. New York Mets minus 1.5 over 7.5. Milwaukee minus 1.5, getting the job done for some run line cash. And if you want to play on the total in that one, that game's being featured as my board member tier package bet on my website. I like the Twins plus 105 under 7. Now, I have no free pick in the Philadelphia-Houston game. That contest is being featured as my daily best play on my website. Give me the Giants plus 1.5 under 7. LA Angels minus 185 under 7 runs. Detroit plus 1.5 under 7. With my next and final free pick for the video, I'm going to lean toward the Dodgers minus 1.5 over 8.5. And with that, guys, that's going to do it for me. Gotta thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. Really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. With that said, guys, happy Monday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage.